And all right, welcome in. It is episode number 3 of the Catamount Chronicles, my UVM-centered podcast, bringing you all the biggest names, biggest stories from the history of Catamount Country. It's all thanks to Sobu Stretch, a yoga studio just off Shelburne Road in South Burlington, and by the Strike Zone Academy, a baseball facility in Essex Junction. A guy who knows something about training facilities we'll get to in a little while. It's former UVM hockey star, former NHL veteran, 12 years of professional hockey career between the league and overseas. It's a member of the UVM Athletics Hall of Fame. It's Torrey Mitchell. Torrey, how are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you joining me. First off, you're only 35 years old. You could still be playing. Are you officially retired?
Oh yeah, officially retired, and no, I lost a step near the end the last couple of years there, so I knew it was time for me to move on.
Was there a specific moment when you were like, I just either can't or don't want to do this anymore, or was it just more of a gradual thing?
I mean, when I didn't have any more NHL offers, entering what would have been my 12th season, there's writing on the wall there, and then I got a good offer to go play in a great city in Switzerland, and I probably didn't perform as well as some of what they would expect from the imports, especially with that NHL background. So I'd say a mix of those two things: not getting an offer in free agency, entering my 12th season, and then probably not performing to the level that imports should be performing in the Swiss league that I was playing in. So that was those were two pretty big signs that maybe it's time to hang them up. I probably could still be playing. I had a couple offers to play in the German league, but at that point, just continuing to drop down in leagues, and I just felt it was time with 3 kids to move on and settle in to our place in Vermont.
We don't give athletes enough credit, and I certainly don't think that fans give athletes enough credit for all that they go through. I told you when we set this up, I was recently laid off from my radio job, and here we are 3 weeks out, and it's like, okay, dang, I don't know what's next, and I'm searching, I'm trying to figure it out. You've been traded, you've been injured, you've had to go play overseas. I mean, the things, like, for me, this has shattered my whole professional world. For guys like you, it's just part of the job. How do you handle that as a pro athlete? Because we don't give you enough credit for it.
Yeah, it's just part of the job. You said it right. I mean, you see it happen early in your career. You just see the turnover from some veteran guys and some older guys getting traded, or guys coming out of their entry level deals 3 or 4 years into their professional playing careers, and they're getting traded or getting sent down or signing in Europe. So it happens all around you. And then eventually it happens to you. I mean, there's a very small percentage of players, at least in hockey. It's not just hockey, it's every sport, that end up playing with the same team their whole career. So, 95% of the league, guys are moving around eventually. And that's just part of the game. You see it with your teammates, and then eventually it happens to you. And it just kind of, you just want to keep playing because you love the game so much. But then, a lot of guys are adding wives and kids and families, and so it's dogs, and there's moving parts. Right, there's a lot more to it from the time you were 21 or 22, or sometimes now 18, 19-year-olds that enter the league. There's a lot more to just playing hockey as you get older, and you're still managing to make a career out of it. There's definitely way more to it behind the scenes, for sure. The money and the playing the game are the two biggest, most incredible things. But when that settles down, there's a lot more behind the curtain.
What's the process like when you are traded? What happens logistically? Does your old team help you with things? Does your new team help you find a place? What's the conversations like with your family? I'm kind of interested in all of it logistically.
Yeah, so, I mean, let's see. So the first time I moved teams, I actually signed as a UFA, as a free agent on July 1st. So I wasn't traded there. That was July 1st. I had a whole summer to prepare to move to a new city, to move to Minneapolis. But a year and a half later, at the trade deadline, I think Kate, she's 6 now. She would have been 2 weeks old, and I got traded at 2:54 p.m. and the deadline was 3 p.m. and I was on a 6 a.m. flight the next day to meet the Buffalo Sabres in Tampa Bay. They were on their Florida trip, so I was going to a new team. Left my wife, dog, 2 cars, and apartment and child in Minneapolis, and joined the team on their 9-day trip in Florida. And then the team that you get traded to covers the cost, like the moving costs of your family and cars and whatever it may be. So, but there's still packing and preparing on that end that you're leaving your wife to do. So she had her hands full there. Luckily, we had a lot of help from my parents and her parents, and but yeah, there's a there's a lot to it right there. And then when you get to a new city, you're usually in a hotel so I lived downtown Buffalo in a hotel for the remainder of that season, 2.5 months. And if anyone that knows Buffalo really well, there's a difference between a nice hotel in Buffalo and a nice hotel in a major U.S. city. Most of these teams are putting their players up in like the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah.
Buffalo,
you got the Days Inn.
Yeah. Buffalo was. They gave me the Grand Presidential Suite, but it was not what you would think.
I hope you don't go ripping Buffalo too much.
It's all right, but yeah, that's the process with it. It happens, and you're gone right away.
Don't go ripping Buffalo too much to former Catamount Aaron Miller, who's from Buffalo. So I hope you don't say that to him.
No, I don't hate on Buffalo. I had a great time there. I love the people. It's actually like a lot of guys that play there speak very highly of it because it's a great organization. They take good care of their players, and all the restaurants and people, they just want you to succeed. They want winning teams so bad in that city. So it was a fun place to play.
Looking back, are there any organizations that you ever thought, I don't want to play there? I don't ever want to sign there or be sent there because it's poorly coached, it's poorly run. Are there those organizations in the NHL, or is everybody just happy, hey, I want to play hockey, so wherever I can play, I want to play?
I wouldn't say any of them are poorly run, but I would definitely, you can tell when you're in a good organization. And that just runs down from the owner through the front office to the PR guys to the ticket ushers to the Zamboni rink crew. I mean, you can tell when you're in like a high level organization. There's a difference there. There's good people in every organization, but for me, the Montreal Canadiens, there was nothing that compared to it. Nothing that compared to it. And I played in an incredible organization in San Jose. Great ownership, great GM, great teams, great fan base, but there's nothing that compared to the Montreal Canadiens. I've heard maybe the Rangers really take care of their players. I know Vegas is doing an incredible job taking care of the families and players and stuff like that, but there was nothing like I had seen with the Montreal Canadiens. And that's like the smallest thing from going to a free concert to getting a dinner reservation to your family getting transported to the airport when you're out of town, or just little things like that. Where Montreal, it was just like, okay, this is the pinnacle organization of hockey. And I'm sure there's some other, I don't know, just from experience from the 5 teams I played on, there's not one team that compared to the Canadiens.
How much does that word travel around the league when it comes time to be a free agent and guys are thinking about where to sign? How much do those, quote, little things factor in for players?
It does travel around for sure. Not to knock on Minnesota, but just again from my experience, it's a great hockey town, a great fan base. But when I signed there, when Parisi and Suter had just signed their big contracts there, and
Yeah.
those two guys came in and just like, I mean, started changing everything. And I had come from a culture in San Jose that was also just a lot higher expectation, and just it was just a better organization. It was better run than when I signed in Minnesota, and I could tell right away. And I didn't really know that before signing. I had
Yeah.
probably 6 or 7 teams on July 1st that day that I could have signed with, and to be fully honest with you, it was, I wasn't making 6 or 7 million a year. So for me, like, I was going to try to chase the money a little bit. But I also still wanted to be able to be in a good organization. So it definitely travels. It travels around. And I think guys later in their careers make that decision where they want to play somewhere where they're them and their. Did I lose you for a second there?
No, you're good. You're good. We're here. So how does the priority change as you get older? You mentioned that you were going to chase the money a little bit. Fans want to hear that players only want to win championships. As I've gotten older, I realize, hey, championships is part of it. Money's part of it. Playing time is part of it. And how does that change as you get older?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is you want to get playing time. You want to feel like you're wanted. So, obviously on that day when I signed in Minnesota, I felt like I was a big part of their plans, aside from the money. So that's number one, is where do I fit and where's the team at? And, those types of questions where you have a chance to win. Obviously you want to win. Every time you're playing on the ice, you're not really thinking about the money. You're thinking about winning and playing well and, being a big part of your team. So that never really changes. You still have that mentality from when you were, playing 15 bantam hockey. You just want to play well when you're out on the ice and work hard and do well. And that's just natural, probably just more because you always love your teammates and you always want to do well for them. You don't want to let anyone down around you. So that definitely stays with you your whole career. But factoring into, like, if on free agency signing, where if you have options, definitely playing time and then money for sure. Yeah.
My new favorite question of guys who are no longer playing is this one. Would you rather be fourth line guy or healthy scratch guy on a championship caliber team, or your first line center and you're the man on a team that's not as good?
Wow, that's a good question.
I told you that's why it's my new favorite.
Boy, that's a really good one. Do you get to win the Stanley Cup if you're on?
You're on a championship contender. If you're the healthy scratch guy, fourth line guy, 15 minutes of ice time a night, you are on a championship contender.
Yeah, I mean, I was never a first line guy aside from in college, so those were fun days. But I would go. I'd go with chasing the Stanley Cup. Yeah.
Catamount Chronicles episode 3 with Torrey Mitchell, brought to you by the Strike Zone Baseball Academy in Essex Junction. You'll see it flashing on the screen right off Susie Wilson Road. You can get a free evaluation of your baseball skills just by mentioning this podcast. Heck, I can be the guy that gives you that free evaluation of your baseball skills. And that kind of leads me into a question also, Torrey, I have for you, because you just helped open a hockey facility in Essex Junction yourself on Pearl Street, Elevate 02. So as I'm talking about my baseball facility sponsor. How much do these facilities that help our youth grow the game, how important are those now, like your facility, in today's kind of athletic culture?
I
Oh, you there still?
I lost you for a quick second there.
Yep. So I was just saying, I've got this baseball facility, the
I
Strike Zone
lost I
Academy.
lost you for a hot second. I know you're asking me a question about my new facility. I didn't catch the whole question.
Yep. So I'll just say that I've got this baseball facility in Essex that's sponsored the podcast, the Strike Zone Academy.
So yeah, I opened up. Sorry.
Yep, you're good. You're good. So yeah, tell me about your new facility.
You can hear me good. All right, I didn't catch most of the question, but I can ramble on about what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Life after hockey. No problem. Yeah, so I opened up a hockey training facility with actually a former teammate and former Catamount alumni, Peter Lennis, which would have been last October. So coming up here, it'll have been a year since we've been open, and we do private hockey lessons, mostly one-on-one. It's a pretty unique setup. The ice is about a studio-sized rink, so it's a patch ice. It's about 40 by 60 feet, which is what we wanted. We didn't want bigger than that. We wanted it to be a small area where we could teach the current hockey skills, and it seems like we're off to we started really well. There was a lot of interest around the Vermont hockey community, and then we've just kind of kept the momentum going. Seems like we're reaching into New Hampshire and some Boston kids trying to come up. I know not so much now with COVID, but it seems like our vision is working with being able to impact young hockey players in Vermont. So it's been really fun. We do like 4 or 5 lessons each in a full day, and sometimes we jump out there together. And it's been really fun. I mean, we've had really good feedback from parents, and here's Pete right now. Right, he's actually out on the ice.
There you go. From inside the war room at the Elevate 02 facility.
Is this live?
It's live. Is it live?
We're taping it in advance, but it's going to be on YouTube and stuff later. So yeah, it's going to come out next week technically. Yeah, don't swear. I can't edit that.
I gotta get out of here then.
So yeah, it's been. I mean, I can give you the grand tour of the place. I could bring the laptop around
if you're able to, and we're not going to lose connection, I'm all for it.
Let me see if I know a couple minutes. Pete should be back out there doing it. Here's the. I'm actually in another office, but here's the gym part of it here.
Oh, looks like a good weight room there. So again, the YouTube crew is getting a good tour here.
That's right, and then through the glass there is our rink.
Wow, so, that's so cool. I won't ask you what your electric bill is to cool the ice, but
pretty cool, isn't it? Pete's out there. Our major sponsor is Bauer, and Pete's out there working with a prep school kid, and yeah, that's it. We got some more offices there.
I won't ask you how much it costs to keep that rink cool the entire year.
It's not cheap.
Yeah,
but there are some bills to pay, some real world stuff now. Pete just retired too, so he's we're doing all this real world stuff together that regular people do. So it's been a lot of fun. It's a bit of a fantasy factory in here sometimes, it feels like, but yeah, we do have some bills to pay.
Well, my previous question when we were getting cut off was, I've got the baseball facility as my sponsor. You've got your youth hockey facility. Even when I was growing up, it was more about, okay, you're going to play high school sports. You're going to play community-oriented sports. So how important is it now in today's culture to have a facility like my baseball facility, like your hockey facility? Because recruiting has become so competitive. You need places like this to get that edge.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it doesn't matter what sport you're doing. You know, just as much as I do on the baseball side, it's 12 months a year. Like it changed. Like kids used to play so many different sports, and now unfortunately, if you're not going 12 months a year, I'm not saying having to be on a team 12 months a year, but at least you get to have our facilities to maybe once a week through your off season, get a little refresher, get on your skates, get hit some balls. So that's just the dynamic. That's just where youth sports are right now. If you want to get to the next level, it's kind of like it's tough to take 4 or 5 months off now, because when you come back to your sport, you're behind a little bit. So I played 3 sports growing up, but that's how it was. That's how it was. Everyone played 2 or 3 sports, and now we still encourage everyone, all the kids that come in here to play other sports, just for natural athletic ability. But we also encourage, maybe once every 2 weeks in the summer in your hockey off season, it's not a bad idea to jump out with us and stay fresh throughout the summer, at least here and there. So.
Now, you grew up, you mentioned playing 3 sports. You grew up in Montreal, got to play for the Canadiens. You scored a playoff goal for the Canadiens, if I'm remembering correctly. Where does that moment rank for you in your hockey life?
That's number 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's number 1. That was really cool. I had a bunch of friends behind that net too that bought tickets for that game. So that was probably, number 1. That was probably definitely my most exciting goal, even though it wasn't my nicest goal, but it was just for me to score a playoff goal for the team. I grew up 10 minutes from the Montreal Forum, and I went to high school 5 minutes down the road from the Bell Center. So it was, to get traded there was just like, what is happening? Just a whirlwind. And then, to score a playoff goal at home is like home, like real home, was pretty special. It's pretty tough to beat. There's not that many guys that get to play for their hometown NHL team. So
Marty St. Louis, Eric Perrin, the Quebec to Burlington connection has been really good over the years. People are saying that that's the one thing they really want Todd Woodcroft to reestablish as he takes over at UVM. What's the thing you would like to see UVM do to kind of get back to national prominence? What's the most important thing they can do?
Oh, it's just getting that winning culture again. You get that culture, and it just kind of trickles down year after year. I feel like when we came in, we were Kevin's first recruiting class, but he also, like the older guys, when we came in, there was some guys that when Kevin Sneddon, sat down with them, they bought into his culture change, and this is what it's going to be like moving forward. And I just felt eventually it was just good season after good season after good season. And, they had a chance there. I think one year they went to the Frozen Four, so there was a good, really strong hockey culture there. Kevin's first 10 years, I'd say. It was a winning program. Granted, they're in Hockey East. It's pretty tough when you enter the Hockey East schedule when you got BC back to back and then BU back to back and then you're going to Maine too. I think everyone understands that, but it was just a winning culture, and guys loved coming back in the summer. We had a great group of alumni and guys that were still playing professionally. Probably 10 to 15 guys would come back and train at the university every summer. I want to see that again. Why would they not have that again? So I think everyone's super excited about Todd, and he's super excited. I know he's working his tail off, and it'd be great. Yeah, there's no doubt it'd be great to get some good Montreal or some Quebec kids down here, because there's some incredible hockey up there. I'm just thinking, where I grew up, there's probably 30 rinks within a 5 to 10 minute drive. It's aside from Toronto, it's the mecca of hockey, and there's so many players and so many young French kids that are they're just uneducated on what's going on down in college hockey. How do I get there? So, if they get a little taste of it and understand it a little bit more, then and UVM can plant those seeds, then I think we can get some really good players in.
Catamount Chronicles, Episode 3, Torrey Mitchell, brought to you. See it on the bottom of your screen by Sobu Stretch, just off Shelburne Road. It's a boutique yoga studio. 3 to 5 people max, everything being socially distanced, done safely, following CDC guidelines. They've got in-person classes. They've got virtual classes. However you feel comfortable, you can go and you can get $5 off your first class by mentioning the promo code Brady5. That's Brady5. Torrey, I know we got just a few minutes left. I'll get you out of here on some pseudo rapid-fire questions. Who is the veteran in your career that kind of put his arm around you and showed you the ways of the NHL? Who was that guy for you?
Patrick Marleau.
Why?
Why did he do that?
I don't know. That's a poor question. How did he do it? What did he teach you? Why did he take an interest in you? Why did you gravitate towards him?
We just really got along. He was like a father figure when I entered, and I just like quietly watch him from afar. Like everything he did was so professional, just always so prepared, but also like to have a good time. And he was so approachable and easy to be around. So we just hit it off really well. And for those 5 years, my first 5 years in San Jose, I just loved being around him and watching him and learning from him.
Everybody's arguing about the unwritten rules of baseball and how they hate them. What's an unwritten rule in hockey?
I've always enjoyed like watching two tough guys fighting.
Yeah.
And then when one of them hits the ice or falls or drops to a knee, the other guy doesn't hit him again. That respect amongst the two guys that doesn't have to be enforcers, amongst the two guys that are fighting, I think that's just an incredible respect rule that I've always enjoyed, even currently over the years. If someone falls and you're still cocked and loaded and ready to hit them again, you don't. Even all that rage, and you want to just knock them out. Yeah. And there's your chance, and guys always over the years have held back. I just think that's pretty cool, unwritten rule.
You're the center. You get to choose 2 forwards to flank you never played with that you want to play with. Who you choosing?
Right now, Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon.
Okay. So could you imagine, by the way, playing a playoff in an NHL bubble? Like, is it crazy to you what they're doing right now and succeeding at?
Yeah, it is. It is pretty crazy. Come to think of it, it is. Yeah, I mean, guys could potentially be in that bubble for almost 3 months till the end of October. Like what?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, it is pretty wild to think about, but they're doing a great job.
Best place to eat in the area?
Well, in Montreal, in Vermont.
In Burlington, yeah.
In Burlington, E.B. Strong's.
I've never been there.
Steakhouse. Church
Street. Okay, I've never been there. Ken's Pizza Pub is always my go-to. Not as expensive as what you're talking about, but that's my go-to.
You can't go wrong there.
You get to score on one goalie that you never scored on. Who you choosing?
I don't think I've ever scored on. No, I've never scored on Carey Price.
Okay.
In practice.
Yeah. And now, lastly, how can we get in touch with Elevate 802 if somebody wants to come in and get hockey lessons, get some ice time, work with you process?
Yeah, the easiest way right now is we got such a presence from my partner Pete Lennis on social media. On Instagram, we're Elevate02_VT. But our website, elevate02.com. It has all of our phone numbers and stuff on there. And a lot of people have been reaching us through our website.
Well, Catamount Chronicles brought to you by Sobu Stretch in South Burlington and the Strike Zone Academy in Essex Junction. Torrey Mitchell, our guest today, 12-year pro career member of the Catamounts Hall of Fame. Torrey, we appreciate it, man. You're crushing it at Elevate 802. I've heard nothing but good things about your business. A lot of people speak highly of it, and we got the tour of it, so it looked certainly impressive from here. So stay safe, and we'll talk to you again down the line.
Okay. Thanks, Brady. Appreciate it.